Welcome to the Hockey Writers Flames Faceoff, a weekly show with our top Calgary Flames writing crew, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From training camp to the playoffs, from draft day to the trade deadline, our team covers everything that happens with the Flaming Sea. So get set, get focused. It's time for the Flames Faceoff. Flames Faceoff.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Quinney, and this is the Flames Faceoff. Now, this week's show is being brought to you by The Morning Skate, and that's a daily newsletter delivered right into your inbox Monday to Friday, and it's jam-packed with the best hockey stuff on the planet. I'm a subscriber, and I love it. I recommend it to you highly. It's a daily dose of the latest NHL news, rumors, history, funnies, quizzes. Just a little hockey fun and information brought to you every day of the week from the Hockey Writers. You will see a link to the show description and go to it and subscribe. You have to be a subscriber to get that newsletter. Now, on our panel today, we have Greg Tysowski and Brett Krauss. Welcome, gentlemen. Hope you're doing well.
Doing great.
Yeah, and ready to get right into it. We got a lot to talk about today, so why don't we just get to it? Yeah. Before we talk about the week that was, though, I wanted to do a one good, one bad. I'll start. My one good for the week, or what I want to bring up anyway, was Blake Coleman. So as of Thursday, Mr. Coleman, and that was after the Panthers game. He was at 3 goals and an assist in his last 5 games, and he's come alive after a slow start. There were lots of complaints about the start that he got, but he looked good last night as well. He almost potted a goal. And asked about him, Sutter said he's showing that he's a work-type character guy, and he's helped with the identity of the team, and he knows how to win. My one bad is NHL operations for rescheduling 7 of the 10 games that the Flames had postponed to a 12-day period in February. That was to be the Olympic break. And I get that the league needs to stick to its schedule, but this just seems unfair to the Flames and to the other teams in the same boat, and most of those teams are Canadian. Sutter's complained about the schedule, saying it's really hard to getting any routine or any rhythm going. So, Greg, you got a good and a bad for the week?
I do have a good and a bad. My good is Rasmus Anderson finally getting a goal. Like we're getting near the midway point of the season, and this was a guy who was maybe supposed to replace some of the offense that Mark Giordano had, and he's a top 4 guy. So I was very surprised that he hadn't potted one yet, but he seemed pretty happy to get that goal. So, and it's funny, I read that Andrew Mangiapane was kind of ribbing him about it, saying, I've kept the puck for you if you want to have it as a souvenir. So, so that was good to see. And the bad is also related to a defenseman. Like when he scored that goal, I think it was only the 11th goal of the season by the entire D crew. And that is not great. And we talked about secondary scoring ad nauseum in this forum, and the fact that the Flames defensemen haven't scored goals this year. That's so it's great to see him score. That's good, but bad is like they haven't scored many.
Yeah. So, what do you think with Anderson? Do you think his partner Hannifin's rubbing off on him? I mean, he's been on fire in the last.
Hannifin had 3 points, I think, in the Oiler game there, and he's come alive, and he's someone who's supposed to be an offensive defenseman as well. So it's good to see some Flames defensemen are actually getting some points.
All right, Brett, give me your biggest complaint of the week, and then play nice with a good of the week. What do you got?
Yeah, for my bad this week, I'm going to go with NHL officiating. We may be a Flames podcast, and so we may come off as homers, but I think that the no call there of, I believe, is Puljujärvi pulled down Kylington, which directly resulted in Draisaitl getting to that open area and scoring the goal. So, lots to complain about there. And then I'll counter Greg's bad with my good is Noah Hannafin getting 3 points last night. As Greg said, the defense is struggling to score goals. And Hannafin's not really known as much of an offensive guy. So that was good to see. And hopefully the Flames can see more of those two contributing on the top pair there.
All right. Well, we're going to get into this, but surely you're not going to chalk that loss up to Edmonton on bad officiating, are you?
No. That was definitely not the only thing, but that was a glaring hole in the plot for sure.
All right. You're not that big a fan.
No.
All right. Well, let's get into last week. And, they went up against Florida, lost one big correction there. Forgive me. 5-1 against Florida, a convincing win. And then they go in last night into Edmonton and lost 5-3. Now, actually, I should go back to what we predict. I was checking on what we had predicted. And on the Florida Panthers game, everybody is wrong. They predicted, this panel predicted that Florida would mop the floor with the Flames. And, I won't say what scores you guys predicted. I don't want to be too tough on you, but you were just wrong. And then against the Oilers, Greg, you were the only one that called it right. You called a loss, 4-3. You almost had it right.
Basically, right there.
It was an empty netter that saved. You know what? I was texting with some of my hockey teammates about the Flames, and they have a history of, if a team's on a slump, bring them into Calgary. Calgary will be your slump buster. I remember a few years ago, I think it was Columbus, was on like an 8 or 9 game losing skid, and they had beat the Oilers and beat Vancouver in their Western swing, and they rolled into town, and I just had a sinking feeling, the Flames are going to lose this one, and they did. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but and maybe it's just me in my head thinking they're slump busters, but I know I've seen this movie many times before where the Flames have a team that's just on the absolute skids and on the way, in the dumpster, and they come into town and Calgary plays them either in town or in their barn, and they cannot get the job done. So I was afraid they would lose, and I don't want to be right, but they lost.
You got something there, Greg. I mean, Ottawa, they love coming to Calgary.
Yeah. Did they ever?
All last season and continue this season. But can one of you guys explain to me though, how they beat one of the best teams in the league in Florida, and then a couple of days later they managed to lose to arguably one of the worst, or at least one that's been struggling mightily. I just don't get it. Brett, you got any theories on that?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a mixed bag of things. I think they got a couple power play goals against Florida. They got one against Edmonton as well. But they let the Oilers score 2 power play goals, whereas they, didn't let the Panthers get a single power play goal on, I believe, 3 or 4 chances. So I think they just got a more complete game. I think they looked okay in the first period against Edmonton. I felt like they could have been a little bit better, but then in the second period, the wheels kind of came off. They let the Oilers take the lead, then they got it back late. Just not as good. I think they just played a more complete game against Florida is kind of how I summed it up.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to the way Lucic characterized them, Jekyll and Hyde last year, right? Do you remember that? And I don't know.
Yeah, that was happening all the time last year. That was one of our biggest complaints when we were doing the show last season. And and it kind of reared its head this week as well, because those guys were playing, everything we've been complaining about, against the Panthers, they fixed, like goaltending was good. That was Markstrom's best game since, I don't know, early December or something. He actually looked like he was large and in charge, which he has been early in the season. And we're like, where is the secondary scoring? Well, there it was. Monahan 2 goals, Coleman a goal, and Anderson is first of the year. Like, we couldn't have asked for a more complete effort, I don't think, than that. Even like the fourth liners, they were, they're not chipping in offensively, but they were good defensively. So, it was like, this was the team that was near the top of the Western Conference for the first month and a half of the season. So I was at a loss. I had a sinking feeling they would lose, but, like my sinking feelings shouldn't be, the reason why they come out flat against the Oilers. Like, it just it didn't make sense to me. And I think, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they ran into a hot goaltender. The guy they want to run out of town in Edmonton. This Koskinen has been, they want to crucify this guy in oil country. Like, he's so unpopular, and somehow he makes 44 saves. Like, how does that happen? Only against the Flames. I'm telling you, there's some kind of
another classic Flames thing.
What was that, Brett?
It's just another classic Flames thing. Like Greg says, they always run into a team that's on a slump and get beat. And I find so many times a goalie who's not been playing well has a great game against the Flames every so often.
Yeah. No, he's no, I don't know if you guys saw that. Well, I'm sure you saw the game last night, but they put the camera on Koskinen's eyes, and he just looked spooked, at the start of the game. I felt really badly for him, but man, he came on at the end. Well, I'm going to throw a theory out there just to try to explain how the Flames can knock off a team like Florida at the start of the week and then lose to, those sad sacks up in Edmonton here. And it's this, the Flames, I guess, my point with the Flames is, and I've made it before, and maybe I'll have to go into a witness protection program when Calgary fans hear me say this, but you know what? They're an average team. They're not as good as Flames fans thought they were. They're certainly not as good as they were at the start of the season. And what demonstrates that, in my opinion, is the fact that they can go up against a great team like Florida. And what happens is, they're up for it. The Flames are up for it emotionally. They're charged up, and Florida maybe comes into town not taking the Flames all that seriously. And you get an upset win. And then when they go up against a team kind of at their own level, like the Oilers, they come up flat. They'll lose those games. So, it'd be interesting to look at the stats to see how well the Flames have done this year against top tier teams versus teams the equal or lesser of them. And I think, you may be surprised. They're probably doing better against top tier teams than they are.
Well, I've often heard complaints over the past several seasons that, the Flames seem to play down to their competition. Like they can somehow get up for some of the better teams, and I don't know if they take the other guys as seriously or as they should, or I don't know what the problem is, but what they did though, I think, was give that Oilers franchise, a spark of life. I think if the Flames step on their throats Saturday night and that could be one of the first nails in the coffin of the season. And now what they've done now is there's a hand that's burst up through the dirt out of the coffin and is trying to pull themselves out. And if the Flames did them a solid, by not closing out that game, I think the Oilers could build on this. There's a lot of emotion in that building, and so those players were just jazzed up, on the Oilers bench. And when Draisaitl scored that last goal, it was like it was Game 7 of the conference finals. There was a lot of excitement in that team. So I think the Flames may have just kind of awoken the bear there, a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Oilers build on this and actually win some games now. That's my new bold prediction right there. The Oilers will get better, and you can thank the Calgary Flames because of that.
All right. We've
Great
got
job, Flames.
We got you on tape here, Greg. So, don't tempt me. I'm going to have to go back next week and look at this.
I was right last week, and I'll do it again.
Oh,
yeah. We should be putting some money down here.
Yeah.
Taking calls.
Okay.
What do you think, Brett? Is this a turning point or was Saturday and last night a turning point for the Flames?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Like, I'm kind of with you there. I think, watching Florida come in and they played Spencer Knight against the Flames, who hasn't been there. He's been their number 2 for sure, and played Bobrovsky against the Oilers. And the Flames, kind of handled things with the Panthers, and then the Panthers went into Edmonton and squashed them. Then I think, the Flames got out of their slump, got a win against the top team in the league. So they're kind of feeling good, and probably not as much urgency, I think, as Edmonton, where, if you kind of reading in the Twitter sphere there, like the entire city was going to be calling 911 if they lost to the Flames. And it was going to be like everyone's hitting the panic button, and they were talking about guys losing jobs, and you'd have thought it was the Armageddon up in Edmonton. So I think it was just a different sense of urgency for both teams. And I thought the Flames should have won that game, but the Oilers came to play that night.
Yeah, I could see it. People jumping out of skyscrapers, windows in downtown Edmonton. It'd be a disaster. Well, this is the Flames Faceoff, and it's brought to you by the Morning Skate. Don't forget to sign up for the Hockey Writers Morning Skate newsletter at morningskate.io, so you don't miss the best daily hockey newsletter on the planet, if I do say so myself, as a hockey writer, as the writer. And it's delivered every weekday at 8 a.m. sharp to your inbox. So be the first to know about what's happening in the world of hockey. So, gentlemen, I'd like now to turn to the shootout round. Start off with Sean Monahan. Can Sean Monahan turn this season around? Now, he's potted 2 goals against Florida. Is he back? I mean, he looked okay last night. What do you say, Brett?
I'm not going to say he's back just yet, but that game against Florida definitely, I think, kind of instilled a confidence in a lot of fans for sure. They were talking about him, and that second goal, it was kind of flashbacks to 2014, 15, those 30 goal seasons. So it would definitely be a nice trade deadline acquisition if we get the Sean Monahan of old back, but for now, I'm going to say not quite yet. He's not back.
All right, Greg, Sean Monahan, is he back?
Well, my heart wants to say yes, but my head says no. I wish he would come back, but I just don't know. This is a little blip, a 2-goal game, and then he's going to go back to his kind of boring, non-impactful self. I don't know. I need to see more, so I'm going to say no. Ask me again next week, and maybe I'll say yes.
All right. Listen, I want to turn to something actually that Brett mentioned, Sam Bennett revenge Saturday night or Tuesday night. He's shooting the lights out in Florida. And the question I have is, if the Flames had put him on a top line in Calgary, the way the Panthers have, would he have been producing the same numbers in a flaming sea? Brett, what do you think?
I'm going to say no on that one. They tried him with Gaudreau and Monahan, and while it wasn't necessarily at the center position, it never really worked. And Flames fans kind of often noted that it wasn't working. And as soon as he went to Florida and was in between Huberdeau and Duclair there, it was like instantaneous success for him. Like, he's been hot ever since he got to Florida. So that's kind of where I'm at in saying that I don't think it would have worked here, because I feel like he may not have been as productive as he is right now, but I feel like we would have seen, some more goals from him, at least alongside Johnny Gaudreau. Just the fact he had that instant success, I think it just wasn't gonna work here, and it was definitely a change of scenery type deal.
All right, Mr. Tysowski, if Sutter had shown Bennett a little more love, if he'd just been a little nicer and put him on a top line, would he be producing those numbers in Calgary for us instead of the Panthers?
Again, my heart wants to say yes, but my head says no, because it just never, he had like 6 seasons to try and make an impact, and they did try him on multiple times, and he kind of got stuck in a bottom 6 role as opposed to a top 6 role. And I can't put my finger on it, on why all of a sudden he is a nearly a point a game player since leaving this team. And, it's a head scratcher, but I just know that for some reason it wasn't going to work here. And I don't think having Sutter as a coach or anything would have made a difference. Something didn't work in Calgary, and I wish him the best and happy for his success. But they gave him a nice tribute on Tuesday night, and he had a lot of nice things to say about fans and his teammates here and the former teammates. So I always liked him, but he just never seemed to be the guy that they wanted him to be. The highest draft pick we ever had in Calgary, and he just couldn't be that guy. So no.
Yeah, I'd be nice and happy too, the way Bennett was. If I was having his year, I looked at his stats, and he's got 17 goals, 25 points so far this year in Florida. And in Calgary, his best year was 2015-16, when he scored 18 goals and notched 18 assists for 36 points over 77 games. So yeah, he's a different guy. I don't know what's happened to him in Florida. Moving along.
Maybe it's the weather.
Must be the weather.
Yeah. He's it's hard to complain about that. I'll tell you. It's you guys out in Calgary now, don't you? Are you in some sort of heat wave out there? Like +8?
A little bit, yeah.
+10, I think, today. Crazy.
I
think we're the warmest place in Canada, I think, or something wild like that. I think we are the warmest spot in the whole country.
Today.
My God. It's Mexico North up there.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. You get the golf clubs out, I'm sure. Well, let's move on to the AllStar Game. Question is, were the Calgary Flames snubbed? Some people are saying so. Just one player was selected, and that was Johnny Hockey himself, Mr. Gaudreau. Question for you guys. Should it have been him? Greg, start this off for us. Should it be Johnny representing Calgary?
I think it has to be Johnny. He's like was in the top 10 in NHL scoring this week, so I think he's the obvious choice. The only thing that people were talking about was, do we deserve to have 2 guys going? And because Tkachuk's having a bounce back season, and he's tied for the lead and with Mangiapane in goals now, and he's having a resurgency here in Calgary. So I would have loved to see Tkachuk in there as well. And there was a big online social media push to get him to be one of these last men in. And even the Calgary Flames social media crew was even teaming up with the St. Louis Blues and the Ottawa Senators for a 3-way pact to try and get votes for their guys. And didn't work. But I think the Flames could have been represented by 2 guys. And I would have put, Johnny Hockey and Chucky into the mix if I was in charge of the NHL All-Star Game. But I'm not. So.
All right. Damn. Okay. Brett, what are you thinking? Did Calgary get snubbed?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Tkachuk a little bit, because he's definitely having one of the better seasons in the Western Conference, or I guess specifically the Pacific. But yeah, there was quite a few deserving guys to go. So, but it was for sure from the Flames, definitely Johnny Gaudreau. He's just having, heads and shoulders above better season than the rest of the teams. So I think that was the right call if the Flames were only getting 1 guy.
Yeah. Well, I guess he got voted in. I was reading about the rules. It's more complicated this year. It's actually a tournament, right? 3-on-3. They got a team from each division. And I think of the 11 players, the league selects 9. And I'm not sure how that.
I believe there was only 1 man in for every division after the league picked.
Yeah.
But some people were saying, though, I remember, I think it was Nathan McKinnon was complaining that not every team should have, 1 representative because Nazem Kadri is having a career year in Colorado, and and he was saying that he deserved to be in on the first, on the first crack. I think he did get in with that last man in business, but I think the NHL will always want to have at least one per team, because it's a way to market the league. It's a way to like local news would be focusing on your one guy. Like the league will always have at least one representative from every team. Even if that team is a terrible team with no stars, there's still going to be one guy from every NHL team. So I think Nathan MacKinnon can complain all he wants, but it's not that's not going to happen. There will be a guy from every NHL club at the AllStar game.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. MacKinnon was, I don't know if I can use this word, he is a bit pissy, frankly.
It's going around.
It's going around. Hey, you can use it on CBC, so I think I'm good here. We'll see what gets edited out. But no, he was saying, look, not every team should have a representative. This isn't like where they hand out participation ribbons, for God's sakes. But I thought it was interesting. Brett, final thoughts to you on the All-Star game then?
Yeah, I mean, I usually tune into the All-Star game. It's kind of fun to watch the skills more so than the tournament. The one thing I mean, it probably won't happen just because, like, you guys, from a business aspect, you want somebody from every team to make it, so that each market, they have fans that are, watching the game for their players. But I'd kind of like to see where they do select, the best two teams from each conference, and sort of do it like the MLB, where the winner gets home ice advantage or home field advantage in the final, because it at least put something on the line, and you might get a little better quality product on the ice. But I think from a business perspective, they're gonna keep trying to reel in the dollars by getting as many eyeballs on the TV.
It's all about the money. All about the money. Oliver Kylington, is he the most improved player on the Flames this year? Yay or nay on that one, Greg? What are your thoughts on Mr. Kylington?
Well, I don't know if he's the most improved, because improved from what? He played 8 games last year, so I think it's hard to compare. I think he's just kind of, it's like he's a rookie, because he's this is his 5th or 6th year in the organization where he's actually played games for this club. And so, but it feels like he's kind of his rookie season, because it's his first season that he's played, he's going to play the whole year. And so I wouldn't say he's the most improved. I would kind of say he's rookie of the year, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I'm going to say it.
Could be. I don't know. What are you thinking, Brett? I know there's no award for most improved player, but is it him? And if not, who do you think it would be? Who would you give it to?
I'm personally going to say yes. I think he is, and Greg's right. I think we didn't really get to see him much, but even in those games, kind of watching him in seasons past, like, he definitely looks like a different player. I felt like he was always fast player, could skate well, but I feel like he's really kind of put it all together this season. Like, he uses his skating ability so well for both jumping into the play and for back checking. Like, I think he might be probably the Flames' best back checker. Like, he can catch just about anybody in this league. So I think for me, just kind of watching the games, like, I would say visually he looks much better than he has in the past. So I would pick him for most improved.
Yeah, no, that's a good point on the skating, Brett. I noticed him last night. He mobile, really quick. He was angling guys off to the corner, off to the side, including Mr. McDavid. So he can move. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but that was a great discussion as always. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you, everybody, for joining us again today. And now, before you go, in case we haven't convinced you yet to sign up for, with the first two plugs, to sign up for the morning skate, you'll get to relive some of Wes McCauley's most legendary moments as an NHL referee. I highly recommend you check those out on YouTube. But yeah, we'll have all of that and more. It's the kind of content that puts a smile on your face. So join the fun at morningskate.io. So we will see you in 7 days. Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.